Hashtag Better with Friends, and we've got a lot of friends because the ratings are in, and Fox News remains #1, capping off our 12th consecutive year as the most watched cable news network in America, and by extension, the planet. Fox and Friends, the #1 cable morning news show for the 13th year running, and has grown in both total viewers and demographic audience as well since Elizabeth started. Fox News beat CNN and MSNBC combined in total viewers. So you put all their viewers together from both those channels, and we still have more of you than they have.
And because not only, and when you do the book tour, you get a chance to see the people, and more than ever again, the faces behind those people who watch, and the passion in which they watch, and the way in which they are fans is truly awe-inspiring. And the whole thing is, if it's not, hey, what's Elizabeth like, and so glad she's here, they go like, what's Chris Wallace like? He seems so athletic, strong, and knowledgeable.
Really?
And joining us now, ironically, is Chris Wallace.
Himself.
A lot of questions about Chris Wallace.
Strong and knowledgeable. You know, you were actually praising your viewers until that point. I suspect that most folks sitting at home, if they were going to say 3 words about me, would not say athletic, strong, and knowledgeable.
What would they say? What would the 3 words be?
How would Wallace describe Wallace?
How would Wallace? Athletic, strong, and very knowledgeable.
Oh, you're right. My fault.
I don't know. I was trying to get myself out of that one.
Thank you, Mr. Humble.
That's why we love you. Hey, so let's get talking here. We talked a little bit earlier about the 11 attorney generals. They're blasting the president's Obamacare fixes as unconstitutional. A letter went out saying he's completely out of bounds. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, you know, I hope this case goes to the Supreme Court just because I'd like to find out, as I suspect a lot of Americans would, and those 11 attorneys general, what is the law of the land? You know, the way we learned it in civics is that Congress passes the law and then the president signs it and then the president enforces the law that Congress passed. But this president, particularly in Obamacare, has, you know, it's basically been like a menu at a Chinese restaurant. I'll take one from column A and one from column B, and he decides what he's going to enforce and what he isn't. They say, well, that's enforcement discretion on his part. But again, it sure isn't the way we learned it in civics class.
That's right. But you look at this administration, and because there is a logjam and there's polarization up in Congress, they can't get much done, and so they're trying to do things through regulation and through enforcement.
Well, some of that is there's no question, is constitutional. You may not like it, but other presidents have done it, and that's perfectly constitutional in a lot of cases. But when it comes to a law that was passed by Congress that says this has to start on this date, or you have to, for instance, something I didn't know until yesterday, George Will says the only way you can get a subsidy is through the states, not through the federal exchange. Well, of course, 25 states are doing it. No, 34 states are doing it through the federal exchange. And again, it raises a question. On what authority does the president decide, well, you know, that sure, Congress wrote that, but that's kind of fungible.
Better to apologize and ask permission. Is that our new philosophy, perhaps?
Right.
Like it.
Hey, Chris, I have a conclusion I just jumped to, and you reject most of them, so I'll jump to this one. I think the fact that he's made 12 changes to this titanic comprehensive law kills immigration passing in a comprehensive way. Because I don't care who the president is, if you're going to pass a comprehensive bill knowing in the White House they're just going to flip it around until they get it exactly the way they want it, that's going to keep all lawmakers out of it.
Well, I agree with that, actually. And there you go. That's the one time during the new year, Brian, that you and I will agree.
Let's just stop
I
here.
think that,
Let's just stop
in
right
fact,
there,
John Boehner in the New York Times yesterday, or I guess one of his aides was quoted as saying that after health care reform, he has no interest in one of these comprehensive 2,000-page bills. Let's do it incrementally. Let's find things we can agree on. And there's no question. Obamacare has certainly, to the degree that people didn't already have concerns about it, has really given the idea of comprehensive, big government, multi-thousand-page solutions a very bad name.
Yeah.
So the New York Times is doing something kind of interesting. They are asking for bringing up the case for Edward Snowden getting amnesty, allowed to come back here, also describing Benghazi, the attack, what happened, what was behind it, in a comprehensive way that backs up the administration. What's going on with this advocacy?
Well, in fairness to them, in the case of Edward Snowden, it was their editorial. I mean, that's what newspapers do, is they advocate on their editorial page. Some people agree and see Snowden as a whistleblower and that he did a public service and that he should be treated that way. A lot of others, I must say, myself included, think he broke the law and ran away to one of those bastions of civil liberties and freedom, first China and then Russia. And I'm not sure that I think it would encourage, because if Snowden can get away with it, who's to say that the next self-appointed whistleblower, and I put that in quotes, isn't going to say, well, I'll break the law and then I can get a free pass after I get sufficient publicity. But look, there's no question that some of the editorial opinions of the Times, not in this particular case, but I think certainly in Benghazi and some of their coverage of enhanced interrogation has bled over into the front pages. Brian, I don't think we would say that the idea that the New York Times tilts left is exactly a news flash. I don't think it's a Fox News alert.
Yeah, that's why we didn't use the animation.
You're probably right. Speaking of Fox News alert, what is on Fox News Sunday a couple of days from right now on your local Fox affiliates?
Well, and it's going to be so cold, there's no need to go outside. Just turn on the TV and sit around the hearth that is Fox News Sunday. We're going to be talking, first of all, to Mitt Romney. We'll talk about Obamacare. He, of course, the author of Romneycare, and also about the Olympics, because he was the head of the Olympics in Salt Lake City, and you've had this kind of terror campaign near Sochi in the last week or so. Right. And then we're going to be talking to two people on opposite sides of fair and balanced debate. I'm sure you've been talking about it today, about the birth control mandate. The lawyer for the Little Sisters of the Poor, they're the ones that Sonia Sotomayor gave a stay of the mandate on January 1st. And then Elise Hogue, who's the president of NARAL, who has been very much in favor of the idea that employees, yes, even of nonprofit religious affiliated groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor, should have the option of getting contraception.
So watch Fox News Sunday. It's going to be cold on Sunday. What kind of soup would your wife Lorraine make? She did do that cookbook of soups. So what was perfect?
Buffalo chicken soup,
degrees?
maybe?
No. I think today, although thank you very much for your suggestion, Brian. I think that she's going to go with lentil soup, which is a Wallace family favorite. It's hearty. It's got a lot of protein. It's good for you, exactly. No, I think we'll be having lentil soup.
Okay.
What, you guys want to come over?
I'd love to.
I'd
love to. Just tell me what time.
No, Brian, that wasn't for you. That was for Steve and Elizabeth.
We'll be there by noon.
Okay?
All right, Chris, have a great weekend.
Great lineup this week.
Bye, guys.
That's fun. Thank you.